Welcome to The Bridge, the official podcast for the University of Maryland, Baltimore School of Pharmacy Patients Program. The Patients Program is the bridge between the community and the researchers. The Patients Program created this partnership to help researchers listen to the community's voice in order to build a bridge to an effective learning healthcare community. Here's your host, Rodney Elliott.
Well, we're here today on The Bridge podcast. I'm Rodney Elliott, engagement specialist with the Patients Program, host of The Bridge podcast, and I'm talking again with a good friend of mine, also one of our leaders in the community in that mental health space. She was an awesome guest for us at Patients Day back in October, and now she's joining us to talk about a topic that is familiar to our community and possibly share some tips on how folks can deal with and manage and recognize and notice things that are related to the holiday blues. I'm talking to none other than Jennifer Pope. She is the author and founder of the Pope's Foundation, and I would call her an expert in the mental health space. Does that seem fair, Jennifer?
Ooh, expert. I would say I'm experienced. I don't know what expert.
You know what? I like that because, again, when we're talking about our community members and our partners and our researchers, again, we literally say, hey, you guys are experts in your field. You guys have that lived experience, and you do have lived experience in that field. And again, when you're out and about sharing your knowledge on the topic or the term mental health, I believe you're one of those folks that, have that expertise, so to speak.
And we're forever learning. Everything is changing. Things are all constantly changing. So we're always, in a sense, a student. So, we're always learning about the new nuances that are in our field. So, yeah, I would say experienced and expert.
I like that approach. Again, things are always changing, so you have to always learn. And I know back in the day when holiday season came around, there was a lot of, pressures. Like pressures in the air or pressures in the community and society when it came around the holiday season. And folks sometimes internalize that, and it manifested into who knows what. We're talking about holiday blues. Jennifer, if you could just talk to us a little bit about holiday blues, what it is, and to be quite honest, talk about what are some of the common triggers for holiday blues and why do they affect people differently?
So the holiday blues would most likely be defined as those feelings of maybe sadness or being overwhelmed or have anxiety.
Yep.
So it'll be the holidays. It usually kind of can peak up around maybe the beginning of November, carrying over from Thanksgiving into Christmas and into the new year. And these feelings can arise from many different reasons. Our culture here in this country is to, be gift giving,
Yeah.
joyful, and but everyone is not in a position to always do that.
Yeah.
Personal struggle that you're going through. So when we are able to kind of meet that mark or that bar, it could cause internal feelings of disappointment, sadness. Then everybody's family structure is the same.
Yeah.
It's family. But if you have a tumultuous family, or if you have a family who is in crisis, you can experience a lot of loneliness during the holidays too. So the holiday blues is multifaceted. There's many different shades of the holiday blues. But and as a society, we often see that our communities are impacted greatly around this time. And then, once you add in a little bit of maybe seasonal depression because you're darker earlier.
Oh, man.
All those things kind of, can pop.
Yeah, Jennifer, I appreciate that, talking about that seasonal depression. And one thing you just talked about was the whole getting darker earlier. Here, my office is downtown, and I don't have any windows in my office, but I typically can get up and walk around a little bit and maybe walk out to go to lunch, or even I sometimes may even walk and go to one of my offices here where I get to look at a window and I can see outside a little bit. So I understand that whole season depressional piece you're talking about. We talked about the holiday blues. We talked about what it could look like because of all the pressures starting around November. You got Thanksgiving. Folks are in that giving space. Some folks may not have the means to give, and that could be a little pressured. How can one differentiate between feeling holiday stress and then experiencing a more serious mental health issue during this time?
So, the holiday stress is something that is temporary. It's
Temporary.
very short-lived, and it's situational again, and it's still on the
Yeah.
holiday. However, it can be, you can look at the gauge of, is this something that I feel during this time of year, or is this something that I feel more often than not? So if this, affecting your day-to-day life, if you feel that, you are not meeting the goals or the mark for yourself, personally in your career or, in your education, if you're a student, that's when, it's time to kind of seek professional assessment.
Gotcha.
You meet the criteria, for a mental health illness issue or disorder.
I like that. I like how you put that. It kind of makes you think of it as, is this something that happens towards the end of the year? Like you said, that November, December, January time, or does this happen in the summertime? Does it happen, any other parts of the year? That could be a flag, a red flag, so to speak, so folks can, stay on top of that. You and your profession being one of a mental health, I would say with a lot of expertise, I'm not going to call you an expert. I want to put that out there, but internally, I'm gonna call you an expert. Do you have any strategies? Are there any specific strategies or coping mechanisms that folks can use that can help them manage during the holiday blues?
Absolutely. So one thing you can do is plan ahead.
Okay.
That are kind of just running into, oh, I'm going to wing it for the holidays. Make a plan. Make a plan to be where you are appreciated, when you're celebrated, you're going to experience some level of joy. Kind of make it a solid plan. I'm going to be here at
Like,
this friend's house or this relative's house or helping this organization, whatever kind of, motivates you or brings you some happiness or joy. Plan ahead to do that around the holidays. Another thing is to understand your expectation. People often believe that your holidays are supposed to be perfect. Like, the perfect dinner, your decorations have to be perfect, your gift, and that's just not realistic. You have to,
yeah,
leave some room for mistakes, leave some room for, uh, the interpretation of what you feel is good for you and what somebody else might feel is good for them. And that can differ, and that is okay. Um, Another thing is to stay active. I know that it's cold, so
being
you don't
active.
want to go
Okay.
outside. um, but moving around, getting a healthy level of movement is important around this time of year. So kind of, I know we want to stay snuggle up against the fireplace, and that's fine, but it shouldn't be for the whole holiday season. Go out, go see the lights, go, enjoy the different festivals and
Yeah,
activities that they have for the holidays. Like, don't be sedentary.
gotcha.
Um, but also, acknowledge your feelings too. If you are feeling down or if you're feeling overwhelmed, you can actually, give it a name, give it a title, and share that with a close friend or um, uh, a relative or confidant that you have. Because this is the time where you don't want to be secluded. You don't want to isolate
Mm.
yourself. But if you are kind of, struggling or feeling away about something, you should share it with somebody. You shouldn't keep it to yourself.
You talk about setting boundaries. I learned early on that no is not a bad word, right? So we talk about setting boundaries. How important is it for folks to be able to say, you know what? It's okay to miss this party. It's okay to, not be able to go to this event because your mental space is important. You want to make sure you have the right energy and be charged up to go ahead and tackle the holiday season. So when we talk about that setting boundaries and saying no, how do folks, can you give any suggestions for folks to have the confidence and the courage to say, you know what, I'm gonna sit this one out?
A part of the saying no is the planning ahead. They kind of go ahead.
Planning ahead,
So
okay.
if you know there are certain events that are near and dear to your heart that you want to participate in, you make a plan to participate in those events. Now, granted, there'll probably be other things that pop up, oh, we're having a game night, or we want to go to to see the lights here in DC or something.
Gotcha.
You gotta look at where you are on your stress and social thermometer and see.
Social thermometer, stress and social
Somebody
thermometer. Okay.
Yeah, you gotta check in with yourself because some people can do a little bit more than others, but you don't want to do it with yourself. When you're constantly running all the time, you don't have any downtime, you don't have any rest, and you are here, there, and everywhere. And then by the time your holiday season is over, you're exhausted. So you by planning ahead and saying, okay, I'm gonna go to this ball, I'm gonna go to this fundraiser, and I'm gonna go to dinner here.
Yeah.
Just sticking to that. When those other things come up, you can politely decline and say, I'll see you in the spring, or something else comes up in the spring, let me know. And you make a priority and a plan to attend that. But doing it in advance, letting yourself know what events and what things you want to attend, what things you want to indulge in, it helps a lot. It takes the stress off of it now because you already need a plan with yourself.
You mentioned something earlier, and I just want to stay here a little bit. You talked about that social thermometer. Man, that social thermometer is something else. I mean, you can plan for an event. You can get prepared for that event. You can have your clothes all set. You can, go get dolled up and haircut, hair done, whatever. You can have your gift that you're bringing, or your dish that you're bringing to the event, or your bottle that you're bringing to the event, and you get there, and all of a sudden you say to yourself, you know what? I'm ready to go home.
I should have stayed home.
I should have stayed home. That social thermometer is something else because it can say one thing when you're starting or when you're preparing, but then when you get there, believe me, I have no problem saying, hey guys, I'm gonna go to the bathroom really quick. I'm not lying. I am going to the bathroom. Just so happens the bathroom is at my house. I'm not going to the restaurant bathroom. I'm not going to, I'll leave out in a minute if I don't feel like being there.
You can't be ghosting your friends. You can't just dip off. Just be like, you going.
I tell you what, if my thermometer is low, my energy is low, you'd rather for me to be home because I don't want to be a fly on the wall. I don't want to be the guy with the not jovial attitude. So yeah, I check my social thermometer all the time. And again, like I said, I can always text back and say, hey guys, my bad, something came up. I call it what it is.
Right. You wanna come with good energy. You wanna come and be a part of the festivities. And if you're not there, you're not there.
Yes.
You have to check in with yourself. You have to say, okay, is this something that you really want to do? Can you, really enjoy attending this event or going to this particular thing? And if not, stay home.
Is it normal for the holiday blues to persist beyond the season? And then if it does, when might it be a sign that there's more of a chronic issue there or something a little bit more? Can you talk about giving folks advice or tips on recognizing if that holiday blues extended a little bit longer than what it quote unquote typically should be?
Well, like I said, it's usually a time frame. But if you are feeling fatigued, overwhelmed, stressed, feeling like you're hopeless, or you feel homeless, notice that you're isolating yourself. If you're doing this and you see that it's happening more than a few weeks at a time, consistently been happening for a few weeks, it's time to kind of check. So, it's one thing to maybe feel like that for a couple of days, and you kind of get back to your normal state, and then maybe 2 or 3 weeks later something else might happen. You might start feeling like that again. That's pretty normal. However, if it's consistent for 2-3 weeks or more at a time, and it doesn't seem to let up, and especially if it increases in intensity, or severity, definitely check it with a professional.
Yeah, that's crucial, guys. Again, we don't want to ignore some of these red flags or ignore some of these feelings. So I think it's important for us to recognize this as well, but also for our listeners, if you see this in someone, if you see this in a family member, if you notice this in your coworker or someone like that, I think it's important to kind of have a conversation with them or maybe pull them to the side and, just check in on them. We talk about that social thermometer, check in on them, see how they're doing, see how the holiday was, what did they do? And I think if you have conversations with folks, and you discuss what they did over the holiday, maybe there could be some hints in there that could help you recognize it, maybe point something out to them because, Jennifer, correct me if I'm wrong, sometimes you can be in the holiday blues yourself and not know it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, sometimes you can be right in it and don't realize that you're in it. It takes someone else to kind of shine a light on it or say, hey, have you noticed this? And you say, oh, no, I didn't notice because you're actually in it. So having those, friends and family, coworkers that you're really close to, to say, hey, is everything okay? You've been kind of off lately, or whatever. That is important. All right.
Yeah.
Uh, I think another thing that I just want to mention that is huge, and I know people always will like go toe to toe with me about this, and
Okay.
I'm standing on what I said. Holiday time, celebratory time, anytime we celebrate, one of the things that are always incorporated in celebrations, not just holidays, like birthdays, gatherings, like, graduation, whatever, is alcohol.
Alcohol.
But this is the thing I want people to keep in mind. Alcohol is a depressant. So if you are already experiencing some seasonal depression, if you're already experiencing holiday blues, you spiking your eggnog, you taking those shots, that is not healthy. So be mindful of how you indulge. Even be mindful about overeating. And of course, we get all the good stuff for Thanksgiving, all the good stuff for Christmas. We got the cookies and pies and all of that stuff, all the things. But also, keep an eye on how much you're intaking. Are you sitting there eating the whole pie? Are you sitting there, drinking the whole, half a gallon of alcohol or 3 bottles of wine? Like, this is the time to kind of make sure that you can participate, but your overindulgence can become an issue.
Yeah.
As to be, issues that you already have, especially if, like I said, you already have some mental illness going on already, or if you are trying to, cope with the feelings that you're having, of maybe loneliness or with depression. You adding the alcohol is not helping.
Jennifer, that's a good point because, again, you talked about the festivities that will be going on throughout the holiday season, and alcohol is a component of that. And, on my route to work, I drive up and down Interstate 95 here in Baltimore, and I'm starting to see the signs already up on top that says, it may something, be safe. Obviously, don't text and drive, but it also says, hey, holiday season, watch your intake, drinking and driving is elevated during this time of the year, and I tell you what, one thing that's going to definitely put you and keep you in holiday blues is the old blue lights coming behind you and police pulling you over for, overindulging when you're driving. So that is a key point that we need to be aware of, that alcohol during the holiday seasons, but particularly in general, overindulging it and never drink and drive. So thank you for sharing that, Jennifer. Before we get out of here, Jennifer, I got maybe 1 or 2 more questions I want to talk to you about. And the first one is going to be in reference to social media, right? Social media is here. It's here to stay. It isn't going anywhere. What role does social media play in exacerbating or mitigating holiday blues, and how can one navigate that impact? Is that a fair question to ask, for one? And then also, is that real? Is that a real thing?
Managing your intake of social media is important to having having a healthy level of mental health, because what we tend to see on social media is all of the highs. Most people don't post the low. Most people don't post, the process of how they get to things. So what a lot of people will often do is be on social media and compare what they
Ah,
see versus what they have. And then it's like, oh, I'm not married yet, or I didn't get that car yet, or I haven't graduated yet, or I'm not where I want to be, and I'm about to start 30, and you start to put these negative thoughts into your head, and that internalizes. You really start to feel the feelings, quote unquote.
yeah,
So, social media during the holidays is something we have to be conscious of because what'll happen is you'll be doing something like just scrolling, and anybody who has their phone or tablet, and you're on TikTok, you can be wind up being on TikTok for hours and not even know it, just
yeah,
going down the rabbit hole. But those images that you're intaking, those things that you're hearing on a pretty consistent basis for a period of time, you start to kind of internalize that. I mean, if you listen to uh, holiday music for an hour straight, you probably would be in the holiday spirit. You probably would be feeling festive and jovial. But if you see, oh, this happened to this family, and then this, and and it's kind of compiles on top of each other.
mm-hmm,
What's happening is, it changes your mood, it changes your outlook, it changes your perception, and then that in turn, will affect how you deal with people. Um, and it can become a challenge. It can become very addictive as well.
yeah.
So you have to, again, checking in with self, saying, okay, I've been on Instagram for 45 minutes, so I put the phone down.
I know the phone has that app. You can literally go on and look on your phone and see how much screen time you've used today and where that screen time is. I know I have put in some boundaries for myself that I found helpful that have helped me like at night. Like I don't scroll no more to bed anymore because it just kind of keeps me up longer than it should be. So, I said, okay, I'm about to go to bed at 10, 11 o'clock. Let me go ahead and cut this social media stuff off an hour or so before. That kind of helps me as well. And you talked about getting in the holiday spirit, listening to music. A long, long, long time ago, I heard this saying, and it basically said, like, music is the only thing that you cannot prohibit from entering into your spirit. And when I heard that, okay, fine. I went down a rabbit hole and started inquiring a little bit more. And that's exactly, I totally believe that 100% because when I want to get pumped up playing basketball, I put on some music that's going to pump me up. When I kind of just want to chill out and maybe I'm cleaning the house or doing something, I put on something low and just kind of keeps me nice and mellow. On Sunday morning, I get up, I put some gospel stuff on to kind of get me in the spirit. So that definitely is true. And I'm pretty sure something around that philosophy may have been the starting point for you, again, to write your book. Talking about Music is My Therapy by Jennifer Pope. If you don't have that book, I hope you guys get opportunity to get it, pick it up because it's a step-by-step tool that can help you understand the importance of how music affects your attitude, and affects your energy level, and it affects your social thermometer. Jennifer, last question would be is if you're giving people opportunities to or advice to maybe use music as a therapy to help you through holiday blues, how could your book or how could music help folks navigate the holiday blues?
Well, one way to do that is to pick songs that like you said, help you feel jovial, get you in the mood. A lot of people usually decorate their Christmas tree to holiday music and
Yeah,
songs, the Christmas lights, to
yeah,
holiday music and songs. You want to listen to music that, is, like I said, festive, is jovial. And that can also be a mood shift for you. If you feel like I'm not quite in the mood, listen to All I Want for Christmas by Mariah Carey. Uh, and just get you there in some ways. Or, I really love the Temptations Silent Night.
yeah. That's a
But
classic. The classic right there.
it is a classic film. But then I also like, the Chipmunks Jingle Bells. I mean, it depends, but I mean, just listening to music in totality when you are trying to uplift your spirit, it's a very reliable method that you can use on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
And my book kind of shows you how you can use the music as a tool to help you cope, use music as a tool for improving your mental health. But also, we already use music as, fun and entertainment.
Yeah.
A tool to help you stay healthy on the side too.
Thank you again, Jennifer, for taking time out today to chat with us, talking about handling, dealing with, and maintaining throughout the holiday blues season. She talked about planning. You got to have a plan during the holiday season. Talk about recognizing your social thermometer, setting your boundaries. And then if it does extend beyond the holiday season, recognize those things and have an open ear and open heart to listening to some of your family members and friends who notice a shift. And also, if you notice a shift in someone, having the courage, the confidence to go up to them and start a conversation with them to see where they are. So, Jennifer, as always, thank you for taking the time out to talk with us today.
Thank you for listening to the Bridge Podcast. To learn more about the Patience Program, visit our website at www.patience.umaryland.edu.